What if one small act of kindness, done in silence with no expectations, turned into the biggest life-changing miracle you never saw coming? This is the story of a single father who gave up his comfort, his pride, and even his seat, for a stranger, but what he didn't know was that this stranger wasn't just anyone. She was a billionaire. And she wasn't just grateful, she was about to rewrite his entire destiny. Stay with me till the end, because what happens in this story will remind you that kindness never goes unnoticed. Ethan Miller was exhausted. His eyes burned from lack of sleep, and his back ached from working double shifts at the construction site. Being a single dad to his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, meant that rest was a luxury he couldn't afford. Yet, there was a softness in his face whenever Lily held his hand. She was his reason to keep going, even when life had stripped him of everything else. On that cold morning, Ethan and Lily boarded a plane for what felt like the trip of a lifetime. It wasn't for a vacation, but rather, to attend a scholarship interview Lily had been shortlisted for. Ethan had saved for months just to afford the tickets, and somehow, by a stroke of luck, their economy seats had been upgraded. When the attendant handed them their new boarding passes, Ethan stared in disbelief. First class. It felt like, for once, life was throwing him a small mercy. The soft leather seats, the warm smiles of the crew, and the wide-eyed wonder on Lily's face made Ethan's heart swell. He leaned back, whispering to himself, maybe things are finally turning around. But just as the plane doors were closing, Ethan noticed a young woman stepping in. She was visibly pregnant, struggling to balance her luggage while holding her swollen belly. Her seat was far back in economy, crammed, uncomfortable, and impossible for someone in her condition. Ethan looked at her, then at Lily, then back at his luxurious seat. He didn't hesitate. He rose, walked over to the woman, and said softly, "Please, take my seat. You need it more than I do." The woman's eyes widened in shock. Most passengers avoided her gaze, pretending not to notice her discomfort. But here was a tired man, with a child of his own, giving up what little comfort he had earned. "No, I couldn't," she whispered, her voice shaking. But Ethan insisted, smiling gently. "Ma'am, I insist. My daughter and I will be fine." Without waiting for thanks, he took Lily's hand, and together they walked back to the economy cabin. The seats were cramped, the air colder, but Ethan didn't mind. He watched Lily fall asleep on his shoulder and whispered to himself, kindness costs nothing. What he didn't know was that the woman he had just helped wasn't just another passenger. She was Alexandra Pierce, billionaire entrepreneur and owner of the very jet they were flying in. And while Ethan drifted into a restless sleep, Alexandra sat in his first-class seat, holding back tears, because she hadn't. The flight landed hours later. Ethan carried Lily's bag, his steps heavy but his heart light. He didn't expect gratitude or recognition, kindness was never about reward for him. But as he reached the baggage claim, a voice called out, firm yet warm. "Excuse me, sir." Ethan turned, surprised to see the pregnant woman approaching him with a smile. Her presence seemed different now, poised, elegant, commanding respect. She introduced herself, "I'm Alexandra Pierce." Ethan nodded politely, not recognizing the name. "You didn't have to do what you did back there," she continued, her eyes soft. "Most people wouldn't. But you did, with no expectation. That means something to me." Ethan simply shrugged. It was the right thing to do. Alexandra studied him for a long moment before asking, "Do you work?" "What do you do?" He hesitated, embarrassed. "Construction. I take whatever jobs I can. It's not much, but it's enough to keep my daughter fed." His voice faltered slightly. Something in Alexandra's chest tightened. She saw the roughness of his hands, the exhaustion in his eyes, but also the fire in his spirit. She knew that kind of strength. She had built her empire from nothing, and kindness like his was rare in her world of wealth and power. She bent down to Lily, who shyly clutched her father's hand. "You must be Lily," Alexandra smiled. "Your dad is a good man." Lily beamed, nodding proudly. That night, Alexandra made calls. She had the power to change lives, and she wasn't going to let Ethan's kindness go unnoticed. Within weeks, Ethan received an unexpected letter. It was from the Pierce Foundation. Inside, it stated that Lily's full education had been sponsored, every expense covered, from her schooling to her future college dreams. Ethan's hands shook as he read, tears falling onto the paper. But it didn't end there. A job offer followed. Alexandra wanted Ethan to work with her company's community outreach projects, a steady, well-paying role where his skills and heart for people would be valued. For the first time in years, Ethan didn't feel like he was drowning. One small act of kindness had opened a door to a future he never imagined. And as Ethan watched Lily step into her classroom one morning, her backpack swinging with excitement, he whispered, "Kindness always comes back." And Alexandra? She watched quietly from afar, smiling. Because sometimes, the richest people in the world are those who give from the heart, and she had just been reminded of that truth by a single dad who gave up his seat. This story reminds us, you never know who you're helping, and you never know how far a single act of kindness can ripple. Give without expectation, love without condition, because the reward may be greater than anything you ever imagined.